Welcome aboard! Today we're starting our journey from the legendary, and slightly sleepy, Pero Metro Station, Western Milan's calm corner where commuters, dreamers, and caffeine enthusiasts converge every morning. If you blink, you might miss your train, but don't worry, another one's coming in 5 minutes probably. We're heading straight into the heart of Milan, the Cadorna station, one of those places that feels like all the city's veins lead to it. If Milan had a central nervous system, this would be the synapse firing all the metro, train, and tourist energy at once. And right outside the Cadorna station, there they are, the Jehovah's Witnesses holding their magazines with Olympic-level patience. Rain, shine, or global spectacle, they're always here. Honestly, they've become part of Milan's city furniture. Just a few steps ahead, you'll probably catch a street guitarist too, Milan's unofficial soundtrack. He's playing his third rendition of Wonderwall, giving it everything he's got. Some people slow down, some pretend to check their phones to avoid eye contact, but everyone secretly loves the vibe. It's that perfect mix of background music and mild social pressure to toss a coin. And here we are, Cadorna with its iconic red, green, and yellow sculpture. Fun fact, those giant looping needles are actually called ago, filo e nodo, which translates to needle, thread, and knot. It symbolizes Milan's fashion scene stitching itself into the urban fabric. Because, of course, Milan has to make even public art stylish. Strolling down Via Carducci, you'll start sensing the city's mix of chaos and calm. In just a few minutes, the red brick majesty of Castello Sforzesco appears, looking like a medieval fortress dropped right in the middle of modern Milan. Built in the 15th century by Duke Francesco Sforza, who basically rebranded Milan after centuries of wars. The castle has been everything: fortress, palace, military base, and now a museum complex. And today, because it's February 17, 2026, it's also serving as a backdrop for Winter Olympic madness. Tourists, vloggers, and security guards looking both friendly and stressed. Inside, it's a labyrinth of courtyards, art museums, and, if you look closely, people trying to find the exit. This castle houses Michelangelo's unfinished masterpiece, the Rondinini Pietà, carved in the last days of his life. Not bad for an old war fortress, huh? You might notice some extra fencing and temporary tents around. Many parts of Milan have turned into Olympic zones, full of volunteers in bright uniforms who can answer any question except where the bathrooms are. Now this is the heart of Castello Sforzesco, the big central square where the past still feels like it has echoes. These towering brick walls have seen everything from royal parades to cannon fire, and now a couple of drones, tourists with selfie sticks. Back in the 15th century, this courtyard would have been packed with soldiers, horses, and banners flying for the Sforza family, Milan's ruling powerhouse. Today, it's just as lively, but with a lot more Nike logos. The castle has been rebuilt more times than I've rebooted my laptop. First destroyed by invaders, then redesigned by architects under the Spanish and Austrians, and finally restored by passionate Milanese who refused to let it crumble away. It even houses several museums, painting, sculpture, ancient art, basically a Renaissance buffet. And that big tower right in front, that's the Torre del Filarete, rebuilt in the early 1900s after being blown up centuries earlier. And right through here, this is the Museo d'Arte Antica, the Museum of Ancient Art. Don't let the name fool you. Ancient, in Milan, often means artistically eternal. Inside, there's everything from crumbling medieval sculptures to carefully restored Renaissance decor. Tucked away in one of the quiet rooms is Michelangelo's Rondinini Pietà, his last unfinished sculpture. He worked on it until just days before he died. Here we are in the Corte Ducale, or Ducal Courtyard, basically the Sforza family's VIP lounge. This was where dukes, artists, and diplomats mingled centuries ago, each pretending to be more important than the other, kind of like a Renaissance LinkedIn event. Look around. These arches and loggias were designed for showmanship. The Sforzas didn't do subtle, they did power, frescoes, and geometry. You can almost imagine the court musicians tuning their lutes while someone in a hat with too many feathers announced dinner. Of course, as soon as you step back outside, you're reminded it's 2026 again. Tourists posing, cameras everywhere, and someone probably asking where to find the Da Vinci stuff. Passing through the rear gate, we step right into Parco Sempione, Milan's green lung and personal breather. This park is where joggers, couples, street musicians, and pigeons all share equal citizenship. Today, though, it's not the usual calm. The Olympic Village vibe has spilled here too. Flags from every nation flutter next to snack stands selling overpriced cappuccinos. Temporary installations showcase Olympic sponsors who want you to believe in your power, preferably while wearing their shoes. Historically, this park was laid out in the 19th century on the remains of old military fortifications. Now, it's just one of Milan's most chill and scenic spaces, especially in the late winter sunlight. The park was laid out in the late 1800s on what used to be military parade grounds, because nothing says peaceful afternoon stroll like walking where cannons once rolled. Now it's a mix of locals jogging, couples picnicking, and pigeons holding secret meetings. The little lake ahead gives you postcard views of the Arco della Pace, perfect for pretending you're in a Renaissance painting, or at least for giving your camera a workout. There's even an old steel tower, the Torre Branca, where you can ride up for the best skyline view, though fair warning, your hair might not survive the wind. During the Olympics, the park feels extra alive. Athletes wandering, fans waving flags, and half the world's languages echoing between the trees. But underneath all that buzz, Parco Sempione still keeps its rhythm, birds, fountains, footsteps, and the city breathing. Let's just listen to the sound of the park for a few seconds. As we stroll further, the iconic Arch of Peace comes into view, Milan's version of a smaller, friendlier Arc de Triomphe. Originally built to celebrate peace after Napoleonic Wars, now it's celebrating yet another kind of peace, the peaceful coexistence of selfie sticks, TV broadcasters, and Olympic fans. Check out those stunning buildings just off to the side in Piazza Sempione. That's Clubhouse 26, the VIP lounge of the 2026 Winter Games. It's basically two gorgeous historic spots turned into a fan paradise, one side packed with Olympic bling like a century of shiny medals on display, mascot photo ops, and screens blasting live action. The other half, free fancy food, drinks, and that "I'm basically an athlete now" atmosphere, but only if you snag the hospitality pass. For the 2026 Winter Olympics, this spot became one of the city's central symbols, with the Olympic torch standing proudly under the arch, glowing even brighter than the phones filming it. You'll probably hear 5 languages at once here, all exclaiming, "It's so beautiful." And they're right. Speaking of capturing the moment, gotta be honest, today's haul, not my best gallery wall material. Too many tourists, Olympic crowds, shaky hands from all the excitement. But hey, that's street photography for you, the real magic. Watch people's faces when I whip out this beast and point it their way. Half expect a pro setup, half wonder why I'm using my 3-year-old son's chunky camera like it's the next big thing. Their eyes go wide. Wait, is that a toy or a time machine? and boom, instant convo starter.
Mesdames et messieurs, le spectacle du chaudron olympique de Milano Cortina 2026 commencera chaque jour à 17h. Puis, il aura lieu toutes les heures jusqu'à 23h.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Milano Cortina 2026 Olympic cauldron show will start every day at 6 p.m., then every hour until 11 p.m.
Signore e signori, lo spettacolo del bracello è il giorno dalle ore 18 e si ripeterà ogni ora fino alle 23.
And boom, there she stands, the Arco della Pace, Milan's grand symbol of triumph turned Olympic superstar. But the real showstopper, that massive Olympic torch burning right beneath it, like the city decided to light up history itself. Designed specially for Milano Cortina 2026, this isn't your grandma's flickering flame. It's a high-tech cauldron blending sustainable energy with dramatic LED effects that dance from dawn till midnight. Legend has it the torch design nods to Italy's snowy peaks, with flames that shift colors during live metal ceremonies. Red for passion, blue for the ice, gold when someone wins big. From Pero to the Peace Arch, Milan shows its full spectrum, elegant, chaotic, historical, and playful. Between fashion needles, medieval stones, and winter games, it's hard not to feel the pulse of a city that reinvents itself every century with the same confidence as a model changing outfits. So, a ritorsi from Milan, where even a 15-minute walk can cover 6 centuries and a few Olympic dreams.